Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. By the way, these are my shoes. Making that noise. I'm not passing gas on here. Okay, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, my Notre Dame Irish, will take on the Georgia Bulldogs in the All-State Sugar Bowl in the quarterfinal round of the college football playoffs of 2024. I'm really excited for this game. Georgia has been interesting this year. There have been times where they've been great, and there have been times where they've embarrassed themselves. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look back at the Alabama game. Alabama, who couldn't beat Vanderbilt or Oklahoma, manages to hang up 40 plus points on Georgia and pretty much embarrass them on national TV. It was embarrassing. I don't care how great Georgia looked coming back, it was still embarrassing given the Georgia standard. Georgia looks great against Texas, not once but twice. Regular season and the SEC championship game. Beats them. Without Carson Beck, by the way. And then they hurt themselves and get embarrassed at Ole Miss. Ole Miss, who, by the way, couldn't beat a 4-win Kentucky team or a Florida team, which has been not a very good program lately. Now, lately, Florida has won more, but overall, it's still an embarrassing loss if you're Ole Miss, if you're a team that just came off knocking off a top-ranked Georgia team. So Georgia and they barely beat a Georgia Tech team who was basically a 3-touchdown underdog to Georgia at Georgia's house, and Georgia had the basically scratch, claw, and fight to beat Georgia Tech at home and gave up about 300 yards rushing, 200, 300, whatever the case may be. The problem I have with Georgia is Carson Beck is not playing this game. I know Carson Beck. I would trust Carson Beck. But then I look at us, Notre Dame. Speaking of embarrassing, we embarrassed ourselves in week 2. Woo-wee, with Northern Illinois. But since then, we have dominated everybody they put in front of us. Now, USC wasn't exactly dominant. We had a few pick six to pull away and win. And we had a hard time with USC. But Lincoln Riley puts up points against almost anybody he plays. So I'm not surprised nor alarmed by that necessarily. We've also got our really good running game with Price and Love at running back. And, you know, Notre Dame. We're Notre Dame. We probably got other running backs we haven't even used yet. We have a great offensive line. Our receiving core is really, really good. I love our tight ends. Our defense. Man, I'll tell you what. If anything has really stood out in the last few years, especially this year, compared to Brian Kelly teams, is our secondary. Our defensive backs have been elite all year. We did not lose in Northern Illinois because of the defense. The defense gave up one little fluke touchdown on a messed up play. Other than that, a bunch of field goals. The offense let us down. But even then, we've played great football all year, defensively, and even offensively, we've progressed throughout the year. I have to still go with Notre Dame, and I'll tell you why. I don't know anything about Gunnar Stockton. I know he played good against Texas. He played good, but he also threw a costly interception against a pass defense in Texas that let them down against Clemson and even Carson Beck when Carson Beck played in the first game and played horribly. And they still beat Texas by 2 touchdowns. Should have been more if the referees weren't helping them out. I know Riley Leonard has let Notre Dame down a lot in terms of not turning the ball over. Now, thankfully, against Illinois, our defense got the ball back, but he gave it away to Illinois. The question is, will he do that against Georgia's defense? He probably will at some point. But I know Riley Leonard. I don't know enough about Gunnar Stockton in terms of what to say to get his team to a big win. I have to go with Notre Dame winning this game. I don't think they're going to run the ball all over them like they did Indiana, but I do believe they'll mix up the running game with the running backs, with Riley Leonard. I believe they'll be able to eat up some clock, and that's how you beat them, by the way. Georgia Tech had done that. If they had actually had more talent on that team, they would have beat Georgia. So I have to go with Notre Dame in a big win. They're only a 2-3 point underdog anyway. So the problem is I don't know Gunnar Stockton. I don't know what to expect out of him. He nearly costed his team the game against Texas. So give me Notre Dame to win by a touchdown, maybe 2 scores. You know, if Stockton couldn't handle throwing the ball against Texas and almost costed his team that win, what do you think is going to happen against Notre Dame, who has had a very good pass defense? Got to go with the Irish in this one.